Shalom, first and foremost, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the house of David. Salutations to you brothers throughout the four corners of the earth, teaching the truth and righteousness and sincerity to you Israelite foreigners. Come back home to the truth, to those that passed on serving the Lord. The dead in Yahweh Shai shall arise first. To those to you sisters who believe, keep encouraging and supporting your brothers who are here teaching this truth, and always commemorate the sister who washed Yahweh Shai feet when you read the scriptures. All right, I want to discuss a very touchy topic, but it is what it is. Something that a lot of times we gloss over. We'll read this very same scripture. 2 Timothy 3:2. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy. There is a psychological, I'd say, condition that encompasses a lot of those things that I just commented, that I just read, that I want to discuss today with y'all. Primarily lovers of their own selves. Just last week, I was reading on a website that it was the Mayo Clinic. The Mayo Clinic is a pretty fair assessment. You know, it's pretty, how do you say, reputable source for medical conditions and health and things like that. So the Mayo Clinic the Mayo Clinic, like I said, is pretty reputable. So I looked up symptoms of narcissism. And the symptoms, just about every single symptom of narcissism goes into men shall be lovers of their own selves. Now, let's get to what a lover is, right? When you have a lover, it's not just that you love yourself. A lover, damn near, a lover is somebody you pretty much have sex with. Now, I didn't look at the Greek definition of lovers of their own selves to see if it match up, but just taking the English, you know, when you think about a lover, you know, when you say my lover, right? You're not talking about just somebody that loves you. I mean, if you look at it that way, your mom might as well be your lover, your dad, your brothers, your close friends are your lovers, if that were the case. But nobody says, hey, you know, my best friend is my lover. Like, you know what I'm saying? But when you really research or when you look at what a lover is, it's somebody that doesn't even have to actually love you. It could be somebody, it's just somebody that's having sex with you. Again, I haven't researched what that scripture says in the Greek as far in terms of what a lover is there, but look at the way people are today. Look at the way people are today, how conceited and how self-serving they are. I don't know about y'all, but I be seeing all the shit. People that serve their own best interest, which is fine. I don't have any problem with people serving their best interests. What I have a problem with is when people serve their best interests so much that they hurt the best interests of other people around them. That's where lovers of themselves takes a whole new definition. It's like, wait a minute, I don't just love myself, right? I expect my best interest met at all costs. So if you have to give up something to serve me, to serve my best interest, and it don't even have to be that. It could be people that never admit they're wrong. You know how hard it is to get the average person today to admit that they were wrong about something? It's a simple mistake. Sometimes it's more complicated mistakes. Sometimes it's simple mistakes. People don't want accountability. People don't want to learn from what they've done wrong. They just want to keep doing the wrong. I was having a conversation yesterday with somebody who, let's just say I do business with. And I told them, hey, this other person totally fucked up and caused me to waste a lot of time. You know what that person said? Hey, it happens, it sucks. Not one apology, not damn, I'm sorry you wasted your time on this other person's bad information. And then when I also reached out to that person who gave me the bad information, they did the same exact thing. It's like, oh, it's not my fault. When you do business, a lot of times it's like a fucking assembly line. Wherever the person that allowed the mistake comes in, you allow a mistake. Now the rest of the work is a mistake. You want precision, then you're going to have to start with yourself. But the problem is and Israel is the perfect place for narcissists. Because if you think about it, we all think that we're kings, that we're going to be somebody in the next kingdom. I'm gonna tell y'all, me personally, I'm ready to fucking wait tables in the next kingdom. Because I don't think I'm better than the next man. I mean, of course, the heathen are going to really be the ones to wait our tables, but you just never know. You never know what position you're going to have in the kingdom of heaven. Everybody imagines that they're going to be this great king and everybody's going to bow down to him. Nobody thinks for a second, hey, I might just be a fucking regular person in the kingdom of heaven. Or I might just be slightly above average just because I'm an Israelite. But really, nobody entertains the possibility that, hey, I'm not going to be all that in the kingdom. Meanwhile, you just got saved out of thermonuclear destruction. I would just be thankful for that. But that's the problem. Men are lovers of themselves, and not saying that there's something wrong with having a kingdom mentality, but understand that your nation being in power doesn't make you necessarily a king. Be humble. That's what the problem is. Narcissists, and listen, let me tell y'all something. Narcissists are every fucking where. All the women that are posing pictures and videos of them half naked, especially the ones that got boyfriends and husbands, but even the single ones, those are narcissists. Those are narcissistic things. Everybody's got to bow down to you. I swear, I saw this fucking post. This chick with a gap in her mouth, very mediocre face. Her body's okay, and she's over here talking about, it's a picture of her from behind. You don't even see her face in the picture. And she says, if you want to fuck with a goddess, you're going to fuck around and have to worship her. I said to myself, wow, this would be a perfect time for you to show people what the goddess face looks like. Because that was funny to me. That's funny. The way people worship themselves and the way people, because that's what it is. You worship yourself. You want everybody to worship you. I remember I was watching the movie Major League 3, right? You know the first one with Charlie Sheen and Tom Berenger. Part 3 has a different set of characters. There's this character named Carlos Liston who thinks he's the shit in the movie. And one of the reporters asks him, does anybody else worship at the shrine of Carlos Liston except Carlos Liston? And he got mad. That's the way people are, though. Does anybody else worship you? A lot of people would probably think, yeah, everybody should worship. I mean, that Israel has had no lack of narcissists. If you think about it, what do you think a man calling himself the comforter would be? All this self-promotion, all this, I am and no one else beside me type behavior. You know, there's a lot of narcissism in Israel. You want to look at you want to find the narcissist in Israel? All you got to do is look at who never admits that they're wrong. Like, you got motherfuckers that'll say, "Hey, I make mistakes, but never confess to any of them." So what are the mistakes that you make, brother? I make mistakes. I ain't perfect. They'll be the first to tell you they ain't perfect, but never show you any of their imperfections or never admit to any of them. It's just, oh, you know, yeah, I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But everything I do is right, though. I never take accountability, correction, nothing. You know, I'll tell you I got flaws, and I will tell you what my flaws are. Drinking, you know, anger. I'm very quick to anger, even though I try not to be. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm not a chameleon like a lot of y'all are. But anyway, you know, that's when you try to stem away or break away from narcissism is owning what's wrong with you. Not trying to make the world think that you perfect. Because that's what a lot of niggas do in Israel. Israel is a breeding ground for narcissists, I'm telling you. Aside from the fact that we have this kingdom mentality, which, like I said, it's fine to have a kingdom mentality as far as your nation, but just to automatically assume you are going to be a king. You know, I listen, like I said, if I get saved out of this destruction, I will swap sweep floors in the kingdom of heaven. Hell, if I don't, I'll still have to do whatever I have to do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, a lot of us just have this mentality that we're special. And that's that narcissist shit. You're special. You're better than the rest. I don't know what I am. There's too many narcissists, man. This is why people call us a cult, because you have cult-like behavior. You have men that feel you have to serve and worship and look after their best interests over yours. And what's worse is a lot of these men are lying to you with the doctrine. You know, because like I said, that comforter guy, that comforter guy came into in Israel and had people saying that he's God sent and he's pretty much more important than anybody else, and led a lot of people into believing the virgin birth, on top of him being the so-called comforter, on top of dressing like a bunch of fucking candy canes. So you got to factor all this. You got to be intelligent in this truth, man. Men are lovers of themselves, man. Men don't give a fuck. A lot of these men don't give a flying fuck about you. They only care about themselves. I hate when people do that shit. Especially when it turns out to be a fucking Edomite. But anyway, but yeah, lovers of themselves is definitely one of the biggest covetous boasters. Those are all marks of narcissism. If you see that behavior, you're likely looking at a narcissist. I hate to keep throwing that word around, but it's true. You know, it's a horrible personality complex where somebody thinks that their best interests are more important than your best interests. Their problems are more important than yours. It's one thing for you to say, hey, I have problems that I have to take care of, that I have to worry about. But then their mentality is, I have problems that you need to worry about. I have problems you need to help me with. and ignore your own. And just to throw you a bone, because this is one thing that the smart narcissists like to do. Hey, let me help you on occasion with your problems. Once in a while, I'll help you with a problem here and there to make it look like I care about your problems. But you have to abandon all hope of life for my problems. That's a narcissist. Hey, y'all got to pay 20% tithes to us. That's a narcissist. I couldn't put it any plainer, man. Narcissists are some of the worst fucking people on the planet Earth. They really believe that everyone should abandon their own best interest for them. But anyway, with that, I'm going to say shalom.